Welcome to the Get Fit Guys, quick and dirty tips to slim down and shape up. My name is Ben Greenfield, and I'm the Get Fit Guy. I remember tuning into ESPN in high school and college to watch the strongest man in the world competitions. In each of these episodes, these enormous men with thighs the size of my entire body would compete in crazy events like semi-truck pulling, enormous boulder carries, car lifting, and giant tire flipping. And until recently, I wondered whether this kind of training was only for some strange subset of the male population who weighed more than 300 pounds, spoke with Scandinavian accents, and had an obsession with moving heavy objects. But a new study actually investigated whether this strongman style training can get you benefits that go way above and beyond just being able to lift a car off the ground or carry a heavy log across a football field. Benefits like fat loss and lean muscle gain and increased athletic performance and mobility. And the results from this study are actually pretty intriguing. So in this episode, you're going to learn how to use strongman workouts for fat loss, for muscle gain, and for performance. So now let's jump into this study I mentioned about strongman training. And the study was called Strongman versus Traditional Resistance Training Effects on Muscular Function and Performance. What it did was it looked at the effects of 7 weeks of strongman training versus regular weight training on things like body fat, strength, power, and speed. Now, in the traditional weight training, they did things like overhead press and back squat, single arm rows, deadlifts, and pretty basic traditional exercises. But in the strongman protocol, they did things like log lift, farmer's walk, axle press, which I think is just what it sounds like, pressing an axle of a car overhead, heavy sled pulls, prowler pulls. And it turns out that based on the results of this study, the folks competing in the World's Strongest Man competition may actually be onto something, because the results show that hauling around logs, lifting heavy rocks, and pushing heavy things across a field can get you results just as good as sitting inside a stuffy gym and hoisting around a barbell or dumbbells. This was the first study of its kind to prove the efficacy of this type of non-traditional training, and it shows that strongman-style training programs are just as effective as traditional programs in improving aspects of body composition, muscular function, and performance. Now, I know what you're thinking. Where in the heck do you get a giant log, a heavy sled, and an axle to press? Well, the good news is that you don't need the fancy or super heavy equipment they had in this study to get good results. You can set up your own strongman workout and strongman style training equipment pretty easily. I've actually done it myself recently, and here are a few ideas to get you started. First, you could make a sandbag. I made my sandbag in about 30 minutes by buying a couple military-style duffel bags off Amazon and then getting some pea gravel from the local landscaping store. I put the pea gravel into plastic bags, and then I put these gravel-filled plastic bags into the duffel bags, and that was it. Over in the show notes for this episode number 198 at quickanddirtytips.com, I'll put a link to some really good sandbag making instructions with photos and everything in case that description didn't give you a good enough idea. You can also get a tire. I went to my local tire store and asked them if they had any old heavy tires they didn't need anymore. They gave me 4 of them for free, and they even offered to help toss them into the back of my pickup truck. Afterwards, I realized that a true strongman probably would have put the tires into the truck himself, but I let him throw them in there. I drove away, and now they're in my backyard. You can hunt down a tree. So whenever I go on a hike, I make it a goal to find at least one log, and I carry the log for a little while, either over my head or clutched in my arms or hoisted on top of my shoulders. And the past couple of times, I've actually taken the heavy logs home so I can have them in my garage for easy access to lift and press overhead. They're much less expensive than a barbell when you get them for free from the forest. Next, you could find a rock. My nearby river has some big, smooth river rocks that I took home to my yard. These kind of big rocks, because they're smooth, don't give you the same type of scrapes and cuts as you might get from some of the rougher rock varieties, and they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes that constantly keep your body and muscles guessing. And then finally, you could push a car. Yes, you heard me right. If you have a manual car or truck and a driveway or access to a big empty parking lot, you can just put your vehicle in neutral and get ready for the workout of your life. You can push a car for as long as you can before you're tired, or take turns with a friend where you steer and they push, then they steer and you push. So have fun, but of course, be careful with that one. So now that you're outfitted for a strongman workout, I'm going to give you a sample routine. You can do this routine once a week, not just to get strong, but as research has now shown us, to also burn body fat and build athletic performance too. So first, warm up with jumping jacks, arm swings, leg swings, and other dynamic moves that I'll link to in the show notes for this episode over at quickanddirtytips.com. Next, get that sandbag that you made and lift it off the ground up to your shoulders, do a squat, and then press the sandbag overhead. And try to do this anything from 3 to 5 times. And then jog over to your tire and do 5 to 10 tire flips. Next, pick up your rock and carry it as far as you can without dropping it. Then, grab the log, hold it to your chest, squat down, and then with a mighty strongman roar, throw it as far as possible. So, go back then to the sandbag and do 3 to 5 rounds of this routine. Once you're good and tired, finish up by trying to push a car. And this is a totally optional part of this workout, for a total of about 25 to 50 yards. Now, be sure to look out for people and children and animals and cars and cyclists and other moving objects when you're pushing your car. Sound like fun? Well, I've been having a blast with my strongman style workouts, and it's a great affordable home gym setup too. Now, by the way, you don't have to be signed up for some crazy race or mud running event to reap enormous benefits from getting your hands dirty with strongman style training. But if you find that you really like this style of training, then you should also check out my episode, What is Obstacle Racing?, in which you learn all about how to sign up for, prepare for, and compete in rugged outdoor obstacle races like a Spartan or a Tough Mudder. This style of strongman training can actually come in quite handy in those type of events. So if you have more questions about strongman workouts, then you can go to facebook.com/getfitguy and leave your questions there. So until next time, this is Ben Greenfield, the Get Fit Guy, asking you, what are you waiting for? Go get fit.